And that's how I got to the show of Marc Lottering, which you have to catch in 2025. Is
link is in
that show, I swear, I do a segment. Stop looking at me like that, you'll get comms. You know when you can feel a complimentary look. So he's like this thing. He feels like it's the second plug. Surely it's not for free. So... Here we are.
Oh, yeah.
Can I gooi?
Yes. You can gooi.
So I'd like to say welcome, everybody. I've never been asked to say the first words in a podcast before, so this is quite a moment. And I'm happy to be here with Rizaan.
Yes.
His name is Rizaan.
Rizaan. He's a friend of mine.
And with JP, and I feel like I'm with real people because when I got here, a lady unlocked 3 trolley doors for me. Oh, words to me was, because you never know. I felt very safe with her, and just so that she could make me feel even more welcome and even safe. Further than that, as we walked through the kitchen, she said they left the kitchen like this because they had chomis over last night. So it feels like a great place to be.
Yeah.
Feels like a great place to
Is this
be.
your
She threw me under the bus. Full disclosure, I was with Rizaan last night. Like we were not at my house, we were out. So
So who's throwing the party?
Exactly.
Who's throwing the party?
Exactly. That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah.
I need to have an intervention with her after this.
According to her, it's not her. She pointed to a pot. She pointed to about 9 stacked plates. And the words were, they must just leave it for me. And then she said, they there at the back. I was like, okay, this is different to the opera studio. They there at the back.
Yeah, very different.
Very different. Oh, priceless. Welcome, Rizaan.
Yeah, Rizaan.
That's crazy. Welcome to the audio listeners.
Welcome.
Listening on Spotify, on the Apple, you know.
Have you listened to it? Like, because I know you do both the video and the audio.
I actually haven't.
You haven't?
Honest, yeah, I haven't.
Oh, because I wanted to ask if you
He's a working man.
If you felt the difference already with the new mics and all.
Okay,
because
no,
I'm loving it.
You're taking okay, okay. Audio platforms I'm coming soon.
We
Sponsored by SHURE.
We need SHURE to stick with us.
Yeah. For the long run.
This is the part where we lather ourselves up for the sponsor.
I'm so glad to be wedged in the middle of it all.
It's like you. The man is comfortable with grandmother's days getting a different subscription. Welcome to the GenC Plus.
Yeah.
So in the middle today, we have Marc Lottering.
Wow.
Welcome, Marc.
Thank you very much.
Rizaan, welcome, Rizaan.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
It is the Marc show that we now have introduced. So, Marc, can you just tell us, what does a messenger at Metropolitan Life do?
There were so many of my other casual jobs you could have gone for. That's the one. A bit more liquor than that one. But bringing me down to earth because of the way the kitchen was left when I walked in. Is not But I will say to you, firstly, it was a very weird position to find myself in because I went for that interview not knowing that I was being interviewed to be a messenger.
Oh.
Because the job came via Ikena O. So I was told, go for the interview, look liquor, and just act like you know why you're there. So I go, at that point it was in Wales Street in Cape Town. And I go for the interview because my father knew someone who knew someone who knew someone at church who knew Mrs. Lucas. And she had a posh job there. So I go for the interview and I'm thinking that I'm in a eventually, I was going to say look like her. No, that would be Galatia geduld. I thought I would eventually work, the way she works, because she had a computer and everybody in church knew. And so that was the connection. And meanwhile, I'm being interviewed. They ran that interview as though I was going to run the world. There were like 3 people sitting there. So you don't know. Messengers, if you're watching, I'm not like... bad-mouthing or looking down on messengers, but I didn't sit there thinking this is for a messenger. So it felt like 11th floor. So, and I looked quiet, and then they, 3 people spoke to me and they said, you're going to be perfect for this job because, it's very social. And then I thought, I'm going to be working in HR, obviously. Job's very social. You're going to get to know everybody, and you cut out for it because I was there entertaining them for more than 45 minutes. And can you start on Monday? I was like, I can start now. No, start on Monday. Meanwhile, they had to know I was still going to get oil for the wheels of the trolley. It was for Monday. So I started the Monday, and a gentleman called Aubrey Peters, who was a ladies' man, used to make the ladies Temaka in Elsie's River. I found out afterwards because he became a chummy.
That's me.
And Aubrey would make Aubrey broke hearts in Elsie's River every weekend because he would arrive at work on a Monday looking for a cream soda. And paternity tests. So Aubrey would show me the ropes, and he said welcome, and this is what, and I'm like, oh, okay, but and he had a stack trolley full of files, and he goes, let's go. And we went from floor to floor, handing out files to people who requested them via clever machinery and stuff. And that's how I got to know every single human being that worked at Metropolitan Life and got to completely love it.
Oh, wow.
Got to because you eventually realize, and one must also know one's limitations. Because you realize there are clever people in the building. And you soon realize, but I'm actually good at this. And you get to see everybody. You're not obviously... you get to know all the skinner of everything. I mean, while I was working there, and then already I started thinking of scenarios, and I wish I could write stuff down. Like they would tell me, I remember walking down a corridor with Aubrey and him saying to me, that woman is currently in court. I said, why? He said, her husband was shot with a crossbow.
A crossbow?
Yeah, and I'm thinking of great songs for musicals. Crossbow. But and she was a suspect.
Yeah.
Yes, I think she was guilty. But so let nobody tell you that messages are boring, because then afterwards I started if she requested files, I delivered it on time. Make sure you don't want to upset her. So you check her aim, she would look at you through take an arrow aim for me. So I got to meet everybody in the building, and I mean, it's still an important part of my life. In fact, my manager this morning messaged me because I said I'm having, on social media, I said I'm having kusistas for breakfast. And he messaged me, and it's my boss from Metropolitan, and he said, please tell me, what is the difference between a kusista and a donut? I'll tell him after the podcast. Because, as we said off air, it's a long story.
So the reason why I chose that particular one is because as the messenger, you get to meet all these different people, and kind of sets the foundation of these characters you can build with meeting these people.
Absolutely.
And you find that now you kind of, when you are doing your stories, you actually draw to a person that I met way back then.
Absolutely.
But there is that arrow characteristic that now finds itself landing in your writing.
100%. I remember, and I flirted with someone they called Kathy. Kathy was best chummies with Patty. They were wild. They will hear about this. Because Kathy had the nicest legs in Cape Town, and so she always wore minis. And then Patty just looked like she was down for a party. She looked, you get people in your life, you just look at them once and you take sick leave on a Monday. We all know people. You take sick leave on a Monday, and then everybody knows. So you meet fun people. But what I'm trying to say about
implementing a 4-day work week from the start.
There we go. And then of course there was Aubrey who would always come to work sighing about now my man must do another paternity test. So you realize a man must do another paternity test. So you realize. The wonderful thing about comedy and about being placed in situations like that, for example, Metropolitan, is it's real, man. People are real. Yeah. And when you base your comedy on real people, that's when the audience starts screaming. Yeah. I've said this a million times. Yeah. It's not because it's the funniest punchline. But they are screaming because they're hitting the person next to them and actually going, that's Rizaan. That's JP. That's why people's shoulders are sore when they watch good comedy because of the person next to you.
That's what they hit their knees. Because the guy that's already burning. What I was going to say is that your job became obsolete due to the advent of emails. Or at least in my mind, the person who is...
Yeah, it is crazy, but I find that to be such a negative observation. We moved from having great fun with colorful characters. Okay, we did speak about murder, but then you used the word obsolete and jobs in the same sentence. I feel you took us down. As a host, you should know. Keep it up there, guys. Someone is watching this has just been retrenched. You reminded him. This water it's not a prop.
No.
It's yours. These are nice jars. Yeah. We're coming back to Obsolete. We haven't left you.
I'll pick him up. Yes. I'll pick him up.
No. I left before that though.
The what I wanted to say was,
please, in your own words.
The lessons of importance of just staying power, and someone who has had a successful career for almost 30 years now. You are the opposite of obsolete.
Yeah. Wow. Way to bring it back.
I would like to say good save, but I actually think that is where you were originally. I feel you are.
No, actually, I was gonna bring. I helped you.
What did you write?
Almost 30 years.
That's fine, but you write the word your. I It is almost 30 years though.
So Marc, you've always regarded yourself as a storyteller, right? Not necessarily a comedian. Yeah. And the way you describe when someone tells a story, you talk about textures and the way that they deliver it. Yeah. And then you also get upset when people interrupt a good story. but for you, what are the elements that make a good story?
It has to be, it has to be interesting. I think to the person telling the story. If you're interested in what you're about to say, and it's not just for the sake of filling up, silent moments. If you're interested and you can't wait to share a story, then that is what makes a story interesting. I've always found that, if I'm very observant in a room when if you're at a braai and somebody's telling a story, but you can already smell it like a new fail. No, because some people don't read the room. Now, the braai was going so lekker. Now, here you come about
obsolete.
Yeah. No, the braai was going so lekker. Now you come with, guys, Thursday, we needed pasta, but we only realized at the last minute we didn't have. So we go to the mall. But now you can already hear phrases like, but now and then, we can do it. And you go, ooh, I'm not feeling, I even can't save you. Because I mean, you interrupted us. We at the braai. There are lekker storytellers here, award-winning comedian. We here for you, free of charge. You were going to tell us the story about going to get pasta, but we can feel it's pointless, man. You know, so there's a lot of pressure on like, and maybe I come from a world of pressure when it comes to telling a story because it's what I do.
Yeah.
But there are lots of people who are also not comedians who I look for. If I hear they're going to be at a thing, or again at a braai or wherever, I can't wait to go. Okay. Because you just there are some people who would be so wealthy if they were on stage. They would be so wealthy, but they're even cleverer than comedians that they shrug off the idea of wanting to make money out of telling a good story. That's how great they are. Do you know what I mean? They've got other interests in life. But socially, they are so smart and they are so sharp. I mean, I met a guy about 3 months ago at a party, but this is... Yeah, I'm actually going to give you the example. Anyway. Are you able to edit? This is live.
It's not live.
Okay, you might want to edit it because it's so weird. Because Emma keeps saying to me, that is so weird. Because I came home crying with laughter, and at this party, I was crying just at this guy because we were bored. Yeah. And we somehow came up with this scenario that there's a child who's grown up, like his father's like a heavy gangster, and they like deal, and they like heavy gangsters, but to this child, it's normal, right? So gangsters come in and out of their house, and his father's a gang leader, but he knows no other life. He thinks everybody else is like that. So because we were bored at this party, we became the 9-year-old boy talking to each other like that. So our people, it's like very posh. We were like trying to get us like posh potato salad, and we would like go, Terry, no? And then and then he said no, so I assume I stab him. No, so we went like for like more than 2 hours. We became this 9-year-old boy, and eventually he had a name of like Lozano or like, but you become. What? Is a real person?
No. I knew it was gonna be that, like Portuguese.
One of those. Luciano. I'm astounded by how Cape Town is full of these names, these children, especially boys. Yeah. You know, and then, so we become that character. But and I didn't know him. I met him on that day. But this man made me cry with laughter. So I think, you know, when it comes to good stories and to people, I know certainly to people who entertain me, it's just got to, I mean, that comes from looking at the gang leader and what their children are possibly like. Yes, dark and tragic, obviously. But now if you're bored, you just flip it around.
So the reason why
eventually was like, Daddy, take a bag. Like, someone who just went to the bathroom and left her bag next to the pool. Daddy, check it, I got the wallet.
So the reason why I find that so interesting is that in our community we have amazing storytellers, right? Yeah. Like we have people that can take you on a journey through going to the shop, or tell you every akkeltjie in that experience of going to the shop. And we make sure that, and storytelling is not that far from our skill set. Yet there's very few of us that actually tap into that and make it like something that they can do. And I think it's that way of doing things, it's so much, it's tangible, man. Because you don't need a paper for it.
No.
You just need this, and you need to be able to put it down on a piece of paper. And I think that's what resonates with me more, because sometimes when we say someone's a comedian or someone does this, they always feel far away. They don't feel like you can do that. Yeah. But being a storyteller is something that a lot of us can aspire to be.
We've grown up with the storytellers around us. A lot of us are not even aware of it. But in my new solo show, which people can catch in 2025, called Marc Lottering. Just go to my website, marclottering.com. But we've tried the show in Joburg and Cape Town now, and we didn't know whether it was going to work. That's the other madness of comedians. So you don't know if it's going to work, so we kept it quiet and just be humble. But also I was on the road traveling, and I worked with Alfred Adrian. We still... And that show wasn't supposed to... We knew it was going to be funny, but we didn't know it was going to take off. And next thing, Alfred and I were like on WhatsApp with each other with messages like, "Yo, my broer, ek het baie geld." No, we were joking because we were always broke. But so people were coming to watch the show, and we didn't expect it to be that way. So that show happened, the Alfred and Marc tour, and then more venues keeping, and it got in the way of me creating the new show that I'm referring to. So I just went, I'm just going to exhale. I can't, my calendars didn't pan out like it was supposed to. So let's just see if the new show works, but keep it quiet. If it doesn't work, just a few people came to watch it. Marc to a whole new genre. So I did, so now we are going to pick the show up in 2025 because very few people got to see it. But in the show, I talk about our history, and I know the word culture is overused and people are still having debates. What is culture? But the culture of storytelling, growing up as a brown boy, you only know it, and especially for me, is when I stand on stage, even if it's a solo show, I'm never alone because so many people and so many voices and hearts have fed into me, and without it's not a conscious exercise, but I hear other people in me, and it's the people who were around me, friends of my father, my parents themselves. So I say that the way we coped on the Cape Flats with adversity, it reminds me now in South Africa, the minute something hectic happens, which in other parts of the world would be crazy that you can just look for a schedule to see when you'll be without electricity. Some people find that odd in the world. We got to... The memes go around. We made load shedding. I mean, in one of the Auntie Mill musicals, the load shedding was like a big thing. Yeah. And people screamed the roof off this very weird aspect in life. But the way that we coped when we were growing up on the Cape Flats was listening to the storytellers around us, because the one thing that I can say is food and jokes got us through the tear gas. Food and jokes, no matter what was happening or who was arrested during the week. Sunday afternoon, you're going to smell roast potatoes. You're going to smell chicken, no matter, even if the country was burning, because you take it. And what happens when the yellow rice and the stuff ends up on the table? Uncle Dingus is going to tell a funny story. Auntie Dingus is going to, and some of the stories, and that's how I got to the show Marc Lottering, which you have to catch in 2025. Is link is in that show. I do a segment. Stop looking at me like that. You'll get comms. When you can feel a complimentary look. So he's like he feels like it's the second plug. Surely it's not for free. So did mention Spotify and everything. So in the show, I spend a few minutes. So he's like, you are here, but just accept it. There's nothing wrong with it. So in the show, I talk about how my mother, for example, I think was the funniest storyteller, and it's more than likely where I got that from. In terms of calmness while telling a story and trying to keep an audience, I got that from my father because he was a pastor in the church. So that's a show on its own, and I would witness that every Sunday, how you hold the microphone, how you keep them there with the story. And my mother would say things, and you think it's quite dark in your adult life, but they didn't care. And it was lekker, just because my mother would sit there and she'd go... because my brother's 2 years older than me, Tony, and she would go, "Kyk how handsome is Dickon. Look at this. Now that is a nose." That is a nose. Right? This happened every Sunday, and all the aunties are laughing, and then I'm next to her waiting for affirmation, and then they look at you and they go, "Don't worry, man, you fair." But that, other stuff, my mother would say, Tony, my brother's name is Tony. Tony was a very easy birth, but Marc, I mean, you can see still how big his head is. Dickens a kop.
And it was before the hair growth.
Yeah. So can you imagine? Dickens a kop, ek gaan do it. So you spend your childhood with no therapist going, I almost killed my mother. My brother's the handsome one. And the other thing that I've shared with the audience is that my mother would say, we were very, when I fell pregnant with Marc, your dad and I, we were very excited because Tony was there already, and we thought, obviously, it's going to be perfect. Pigeon pair. Because all I wanted was a girl. All I asked God for was a girl. And I would always stand and think, well... be careful what you wish for while you're rubbing that tummy. But
T's and C's apply.
But these are the stories that surrounded us as children, and their timing. The comedy timing of the mothers and when I got in here today as well. I don't know if it's your ma.
No, it's
okay. With no thinking about timing, but unlocking fingers and closing it, and then just showing, going, because you never know. You never know what. But it's just there. And when I look at people say to me, a lot, because as you pointed out, almost 30 years, which you underlined there.
And the
people say, what is because everybody's got to ask, because when people, it's fed into their ears when you're doing TV interviews, you can see them go like, ask him. Like, surprise, surprise, I never get the question, what would you tell the younger comedians? Because nobody's must ask that. So,
he's scratching out his Cut that.
I'm joking. That's actually joking.
Best question. He was like,
he didn't sleep last night. 4 a.m. this morning. What will you tell the up-and-coming comedians? Team Lottering. Team Lottering. No, but I'm still linking with the tradition of storytellers in our families in which we all grew up. They're all around you, and then they say, and I tell people, because I work with slick comedians all the time, and I work with younger comics, especially if you do comedy shows in Joburg and it's line-up shows. But a lot of people are invested and they can't escape it, which is why I'm glad when I came up with David Cow, Rian Moosa at that time with, we were Kagiso Lediga. We didn't have the access to the great corporate, the easy brand alignment on the phones. But what that does to you is it muzzles you in a way. Because if you want to be with our brand, you cannot say the following and try to weave this into the story so that we don't suddenly know how you got to talk about it, but talk about the quiet engine. So it changes things a bit. Whereas if you've got an A4 page and you're the master of it and it's your pen and you go, I'm going to do a show now and I can say anything I want. I want to tell funny stories and that's what I'm going to do. Then and that for me, I'm glad I came from that school. So now when I look at the guys and everybody's slick but sometimes you sit back and you go, you have everything but for the fact that you're not a comedian. You have, because you have people who have the hearts of comedians. They can think, they can eat, sleep, drink, nothing else but comedy. They're even more comedy than me. Like when I don't expect it, they whip out a little hardcover notebook and I'm like, "Oh, this is a bit you Seinfeld." But like, you know, from like the way like traditional comedians would. So they've got it all down because they've got all the textbooks in their head. They've Googled everything, what to do, how to live like a comedian, how to breathe like a comedian. But you're not your mommy, man. Your mommy had the timing. The way your mommy and the way your uncle told that story, that I cannot teach you.
Yeah. But let me take you back to that first opportunity you had a chance to do that, right?
Yeah.
So it was the words of Mr. Brian Slingers that told you that no one has your story.
Yes.
Own your story.
Yes.
And at that point, you started actually writing it down.
Shit, I
Right?
get a panic attack. It's just occurred to me that you've done research. That doesn't happen often. Okay, let me put my stomach in and sit up straight. Yes, sir, on my left.
So that's when you actually started writing it. And
Yeah.
the very first time was before your 30th birthday, you inviting 20 of your friends to a coffee shop.
Yes.
Right? And at that moment, you were going to display all these ideas that you had written down. How was that feeling to know that you had now a concept and now you actually had to perform it? And obviously after that, the rest is taking off from there.
I should take you with me wherever I go because you remember my life better than what. The years and years of tequila kicked in. I'm so happy you reminded me. Because somebody says to me, can you, a publisher approached me, please, can you think about, we'd want you to write a book. And we think that it would be great. And you're taking so long. And the joke is, in my inner circle, which I'm now saying publicly, all my chummies always, they laugh quite because they go, Marc can't remember what happened between 38 and 49. We were there. He can't remember. So yeah, but I'll sit with you and we'll write a book. Let's write a book about me. So I worked in the ad agency, and Brian Slingers, is along with some very other significant people in my life as well, who are on about telling your own story in your own accent. I have to acknowledge David Kramer for that as well, because he at one point stopped me while I was talking. He said, "Why do you say yeah?" And it was because yeah. He says, "Where are you from?" I said, "Retreat." He says, "So yeah." And they say yeah in Retreat. But David Kramer was always on because he directed me. So he was on about tell your own story in your own accent, and that's all about the honesty as well. Marianne Tam was the other person who was just completely, and remains to this day, turned on by the stories that not just I tell, wherever people are from any corner in the world. She's just on about authenticity. And she encouraged me to do my first show as well. So when I
Is this the
walked
landlord you drank wine
that's
with?
Yeah, I know. I was like,
Book publishers, this is the guy that the percentage has to go to when we go to print. Why be ashamed? It's going to be him. I'm not even going to hide it. So she would collect the rent every Friday. The Marian Tam, yeah. I lived in a flat that she owned on Cliff Street. And she was supposed to just come fetch the money in an envelope. But we would end up laughing for hours and hours because she would say, what happened this week? What did you do? And then she said, you've got to book a venue. And just, so I did it on my 30th birthday, on the 4th of December. It must have been 9 presidents ago. And it was madness.
Jacob Zuma? Jokes, I'm joking.
Okay. And I invited my chummies. And I walked on. And I think there's a thrill, man, about doing stuff when you have nothing to lose. And I'll never be able to get that back. Because now, whenever I do a new show, people... there is always that expectation. Got matric with exemption. And, what genre will he tackle now, and from what perspective? And I'm like, man, can't man just make a joke? Obviously the world has changed. But it's also, I'll never have that back again. That abandon. And I had nothing to lose, and I could go and talk about whatever made me laugh, whatever made Anwar laugh, whatever. Anwar could not believe it was happening. He was just like, oh my Lord, are we doing this like with a mic? Because
it's not play by the brain now.
Exactly. But my protection was, I invited my friends. It was my birthday. So my focus was, look, it's the party. This is just good evening.
Yeah.
I'm just saying thanks for coming. I happened to say thank you for 45 minutes. I happened to show them, what do you think about this character? And I took a scarf out of my back pocket and I put it on my head, and I decided we'll call this woman Mo. And they were, I've got friends who laugh like this. They go like that. So we had an amazing time because I had nothing to lose, and I did not have to be funny because comedians are funny. But I've invited you, to my party. And then I whipped out the scarf and we did this character. And she wore floral, and she spoke about, she went to a friend's daughter's wedding the previous weekend. So she spoke about her experiences at the wedding, and my people in the room were screaming, half of them from embarrassment, because it's like, why would you make this public? Why are you outing a person's mommy like this? So, because a lot of the stuff that our mothers tell us, we like sometimes stand in shock in the lounge and you go, I can't, it's a terrible moment when you realize, I can't actually bring my friends home. Because I was going to control, this woman's mouth. I can't. And the minute you address it becomes worse, because then they go,
are you ashamed?
I sent you to varsity, are you not ashamed of me? Ik weet mos wat om te sê, wat om nie te sê. And you go, no, but if there's a list, we're in trouble. If there's a list, we're already in trouble about what you can't say. So then I did this character, and I hired a keyboard as well. Hired a keyboard like it's a real show. And I sang a little song, and then I did some more stand-up, but they were just stories that I couldn't wait to share. And then we had the party. And as the party's happening, the owner of the venue came to Anwar and said, listen, can you do what it did now for 2 more weeks? Because I think people will come and see this. And we thought it was the funniest thing that this man wanted to pay us. Because we thought it was hilarious. We were like, okay. So they came, and then the media came in. Wow. And then they started using big words.
Like genres.
Like genres, like genres. And, let's analyze this breath of fresh air from the Cape Flats. I mean, let it blow over us.
So
and we were like, and I think I had no hair. I had no hair. I was here. I was here. Much like this gentleman, sexy as hell. Sexy as hell. Pulling the corners. So there I was with no hair, doing this stuff, and then I never went back to work.
Sure.
I was just like, but even then and now still, which I talk about in my new solo show, Marc Lottering.
Let's go.
Kevin Kleinveld and Jason Hammond.
I feel like you can play this back and make it a thinking game.
Of course, we can. Absolutely. And
every time Marc promos the show, take a shot.
Views Express.
Views Express.
But JP net round. Falls for a different audience.
That's very different. That's great because you just came from mosque. This heathen. This next to me. I mean,
It's Lal's granny that's taking the Bibles too.
Mom.
Anyway.
So Brevin Kleinveld and Jason Hammond were. I said, listen, they're taking me seriously. Great, let's have a liquor time. Come, I'm gonna be your manager, says Jason, beginning I play manager, and Brevin says, I'm going with. We go to Joburg, Durban, and then Port Elizabeth, and it's going liquor, and then we say, come we summa go to Australia and New Zealand with no work permits. But innocent, the best crimes are innocence because you somehow, like it's the Lord sees it and you don't get arrested. So we go, and the reason we went so crazy and we thought it was just fun, we firmly believed people are going to wake up after a year and it's like, what a ride that was, but these guys are just taking the piss. Come on.
So you believed it was going to end?
Totally.
You thought it was just like
Totally, because you must remember I was an usher at the Baxter, so I watched real comedians. And I knew, I was like,
Can never be.
Could never be. And we would host the International Comedy Festival as well, and then they'd have local comics with the internationals on stage, and everybody was so cool. Like as ushers, you stand there and you watch them afterwards. Even the local guys would you can't talk to them when they're hanging out to the international comics because everybody's cool.
Yeah.
So that was my perception. And as far as satire went, it was Sally Philander and Peter Dirk Eys, who you couldn't even touch. I mean, these guys knew how to spell the word satire. Sikkel J nog nie. Is it a Y or the Y on the end? Is it two words? Is it two words? So that was my perception, and I saw and Mark Banks was also up at the back in the studio, and he was packing it out as well. And then, so when we did our stuff when I was with Jason Hammond, Brevin Kleinveld, and we're having the time of our lives, we were shocked afterwards. And I remember Brevin phoning me one night. He's like, "Check out at the party, they're saying your name and your surname." Somebody said, "Did you watch Marc Lottering?"
Affirmation.
And so now I'm just astounded. I'm quite upset that it's been for so long.
Okay.
I'm upset in the way that you also want to be younger forever because I've got so much to do. I've got so much to do. And you want to be cool forever, but you can't also fight it because you can be cool in your head. But the minute I walk backstage, I like, Uncle Marc, get Uncle Marc, Uncle Marc. Can't let Uncle Marc stand for so long. 15 years ago, I used to buy them shots. Now they go, Uncle Marc, some tea. Get Uncle Marc a cup of tea. Can't a person drink with you?
So about that, the Uncle Marc name actually came from you purchasing a guy a drink.
Yes.
And then his first comment to you was,
Uncle Marc. Yeah, Uncle Marc, my mommy, my daddy. I also believe that's divine intervention. I'm not ageist. And we want to be cool forever. I believe that I'm going to be cool until you people kick me into a hole at Clip Cemetery, whatever. But also, there's also a time when you must stop buying younger people drinks. It's cool. You can be cool, but you don't want to be creepy. So if you give somebody a whiskey and then the person says to you, "Yo, we might take a photo with my mommy and my daddy is canoe." If I don't take a photo with Uncle Marc now, then.
I want to sort of close the loop on the whole Storyteller by sort of mentioning, I read somewhere that your favorite book is Dr. Seuss, Oh, the places you'll go. That is such a flamboyant book. Why? Like, yeah.
Because it was given to me by Marianne Tam. When she believed that the career that there would be a career, but she gave it to me before I was working 9 to 5 and whatever.
That is beautiful.
And she gave me the book, and she said you must enjoy your last few months of work because she says I will not forgive myself for being alive if you must follow the path and you have a calling, and read this book and keep this book forever. So the book takes on different meanings every time I read it because you go through different stuff, and then when you read the book first, it's just about you're going to soar, and there will be distractions along the way, and then you use the word distraction. But now when you read it, also when you're older, now you know the word distractions mean there will be a doers. We'll try to sum it up. I even give it a name. That's Bradley. Different things too,
you don't need to write a book. You have your book.
Exactly. But we want to keep someone employed.
Sorry, no, he's not obsolete. Sorry, thank you. He's not obsolete. He's not obsolete. Because in the book they speak about there'll be times when people will come and then sometimes they won't. And sometimes they won't.
And the more you, why that book has become, special to me as well, because obviously, as I say, you read it differently.
Yeah.
But the thing about, it has been said by very famous people in the world that fame is not real. It's people do it to you.
Oh.
But it's not real. And the problem is when you start believing it.
Sure.
Then you actually have a problem because you've totally become a victim of it. But it's not real. And I had to learn that, and people are affected by it. But I always, if you write, I write a show because I have so many things that I want to say, and I sometimes think, just be quiet for 2 years or so. Just but then you go, no, I must do the show now, otherwise it's irrelevant if I wait too long. And so you're constantly busy, and with that there's a perception as well. Other people think you've changed, but the thing is, you've got to know. And once again, it's the people like David Kramer who taught me this. He said, on Wednesday they will love you, on Thursday they will have a huge problem with you. Don't buy into, don't let that affection sustain you.
Sure.
It's not real. Just remember the people who've always been close to you, the ones on the one hand. That's real. The other stuff's not real. So I've always remembered that, and when you read that book and you realize, because your phone rings in a different way when things start, everybody's like lekker. Then you become a bit more successful than what Dingers thought you would become. So they start looking at you, because the people who love you, they when they hear about something amazing, they go, what? You kidding me? I just heard, is it true? And they go, yeah. But the people because you start to become quite good at it.
It's you, Bradley. You're the person. It's you, Bradley.
Well, there might actually be a Bradley.
I'm so sorry I mentioned his name. Bradley. But it could be several. So, and they go, people stand in the distance and they go, and my lives making fun of it, because we see it on repeat, because everybody thinks that we've never seen it before, and they go, "Nah, liquor." Now, when you get a nah liquor with a slow clap, and then
it's the slow clap.
Then I'm also already on my left hand blocking you on every platform, because and it's, but then it's their issue. Now that is easier to say. People must always tell us what other people think about you. It's got nothing to do with you. It's difficult. Because you're seeing it there, you take it personally. But when you step away and you you realize like I'm not the clever one in our relationship because he like reads books and stuff. So when I watch series, when you step away from the situation, exactly. Wow. What if someone just tuned in? Just go back. There's a context to it. So, when you step back, even from person who's going, I mean, I'm trying to think about it now while I'm telling you this, even from person who's going, lekker, it's actually her issue. It's about her success, her path, her issues that she's having. Whether because I've been there as well, where I've looked at somebody else's success and your instinct, because you try to think that you're quiet because of everything that you've read and you're above it. But you must check yourself all the time because your instinct is always like, that should have been me. I mean, that should have been
and
me.
And that happens in different levels, right? That happens at an age thing. And I also find that a career thing. Like if we're doing the exact same thing, why are you in this place and I'm in this place? Yeah. And then we look at ourselves and we're like, but
See, it's a podcast that brings that up.
But I find that it happens at every level.
I can imagine
we're almost looking at this. Why are they like this?
Because this is so now.
Yeah.
Right? It's like everybody wants to do this. Yeah. And it is made to look so easy. So I get invitations for these things all the time. And gentlemen, I want you to know I'm very selective. No, I'm very selective.
We're grateful to have you, Marc.
Wow, but does it come with a sign? And it's like, thanks for saying yes. But everybody wants to do it, and you can just tell by. I then, fortunately, firstly, you can tell by the way the person's messaging you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I don't even have to go and see what is happening online with what you're doing. I can already tell by the way you've written to me to come on. No, because you must right lekker, man. It's already you're introducing yourself. So I would imagine that you are well aware of the fact that it's a very, very competitive. I don't know if you call it an industry or business or whatever you're in, but so you certainly do run the thing of why not? I mean, even when sponsors throw things at different, you like go. Sorry, the boys with matric.
Please.
So
the matric in no way.
So please. And then you have to you check yourself very, very quickly, and you have to realize, and I do that all the time, of stay in your lane. Know why you're doing this. Just know why you're doing this. What was your intention? And your intention was never to compete. No. You are just swayed. You're swayed by what's going on out there, but drown it out and
that's something that we keep sorry, that's something we try to keep at the very foremost. And that the whole concept is that we are here to document first and foremost. Because as a community, we don't document enough.
Wow.
So the podcast is created so that we can have a storage place. A place to go and see if years down the line someone goes and says, there's this guy called Marc, but they don't actually know. They'll just send the link.
Or Rizaan.
Or Rizaan.
There's a guy called
Rizaan, and they send the link. Because notoriously, we don't put these on accessible places.
I applaud that.
And that is the foundation of what we're trying to do. And that's why we enjoy as a team when people like you come on the show, but we also want to show the other people that's your next door neighbor that's also doing an amazing thing, but you just don't see them on a platform. And that's what we're trying to do.
So what I was going to say is similarly is that we are never in competition with anybody. We want to collaborate. We feel that the C in GenC is about community. the scene GenC is about, so to bringing everyone together.
Yeah.
And so right now we know that we are the least talented people on the set. Like actually, like we're not saying, like we genuinely know the people behind the camera are the actual talent, right? The person in the middle seat is the very, very talented. We are just mouthpieces. We are here to echo.
I don't know if you're fishing now because you know that. I mean, you would not know you're so quiet. So
I actually
said yes. I didn't meet you.
The segue was actually to give a GenC debut to the person that like I sort of joined our team recently, and she's gonna ask a few questions for the team. No one's gonna see her. It's not. You must subscribe on all your platforms as well.
Oh, okay.
Go for it, Gabby.
Yeah, I'm on a bit of a question budget here. So question fiscus is
wasn't released.
I haven't had sight of that budget
You
yet.
must talk to Sasa.
Yeah. You were trying to close the storytelling loop. I've been plundering the blog posts, the COVID blog posts, very entertaining. We've discussed the storytelling, and we know of your talent for writing, entertaining, let's call it content for what it is. When I read your blog posts, I sense this keen and very witty, finger on the pulse intellect, that very slickly packaged story with no shortage of detail, and yet you steer that narrative, and I know that you already know that it's going to land. Right? You know that it's going to land. And it reads like
the
that.
The finger's always crossed, though. The finger's always crossed.
Okay, so my question is...
well, maybe. Sometimes when it doesn't land, then I always go, sure, standard grade audience.
No audience.
It's not you. It's not me.
It's obviously not meant for you.
So what I want to ask is you spoke really nicely about fame now. My question was more about creativity, but I think that there's like a level of groundedness. There's an aspect of that that's also important. So how do you stay grounded, and what feeds your creativity?
Sure, the answers would be both answers. Well, in part, it's Anwar, and we've been together for 27 years now. Wow. And that was just before I decided that I wanted to do comedy. So we would speak about it and I think it's very important to have people in your life who were there before. And Anwar has a keen sense of what's going on in my heart in terms of where my heart lies with the stories that I want to tell, stories that I still feel we haven't told enough stories. I mean, you're saying you want to, it's your mission to document as well. That's kind of, I have a similar yearning always, that we need to have the presence and that people can see and so forth, see themselves and hear themselves. Yeah. It's very important. So Anwar, because Anwar's been there from the start, so he kind of keeps me grounded as far as, so that things, don't go to my head. It's always great to have people who know you for real. Yeah. And that you don't go off the rails. He's sometimes been unsuccessful in that mission. but
that's a improv.
But I aside from Anwar, I have about 5 or 6 people in my life who've just traveled this road with me. Sure. And for me, and it's very important for me to spend time with them. And they are always reminders of the real stuff in my life. You can imagine that it's become very difficult for me as time moved on, and I don't like being in that position because my birthday's on the 4th of December. So the December people watching know we have to live with perfection.
Same.
As
December people,
we just but as December people, we go out and we attract everybody to us. And people find us charismatic. And then the problem with me there is I trust people.
Okay.
Sure.
But when you start moving in a career such as this one, you often have to learn the lesson that somebody was just in your corner for what they could get out of it. Somebody needed a break with that or something. And I much more appreciate the people who come to me and say, I want to be a singer in a musical. Please listen to my amazing voice. Can I get an audition? Instead of, when you find out along the way.
Basically.
Yeah, I like that. But Anwar has always been the one on the way home from an event who will go, look here, that person that we don't trust her.
Yeah.
And I would always say to him, listen, because he's October's Libra and they're overthinkers. I said, listen, you read too many books. You've been too hurt by the world. I'm okay. I grew up in a freestanding house. So I say, okay, it's kind of in jokes. So I say, I'm okay. I said, you have to welcome people into your life because otherwise, we're not created to be these lonely people and just exist in our corners with cappuccino and, you want to go liquor, be liquor. Yeah. And he says, you trust too easily. And he's over and over, I've seen that, he's been right. So I think you must have people like that around you. And keeping me grounded, the family, there's nothing worse than having family in the audience when I do a show. It's the worst audience, people very close to you and your family members. Because while 640 people are screaming with laughter, your family watches them. Dit is so gebeur. Because they don't know. My family doesn't know Marc. My family knows Markie.
Okay.
So, and I guess the same I'm still in a group with friends who were with me from Square Primary and Retreat to Heathfield High. They also know Markie. They were the ones, I've got a chummy, Tony Barrows, he's the one who would protect me at school whenever somebody said the word morphe.
Okay.
He's like, do we have a problem here? Now, those are the people who've traveled with you, before anything else. So those are the people who I like to have in my life because they keep you grounded. Just them being there. You know that you don't just come as this person. You come with like a whole life.
Yeah.
And you've got to remember that. And because I know some people who've changed their personalities completely. And much to Anma's embarrassment, he kicked me one night till my ankles were blue when I got home. Because fortunately for me, and that's why I say maaf to you, but don't give Sauvignon Blanc a bad name because it makes me very honest. And this girl was talking to me.
Oh, it's alcohol.
This girl was talking to me at the Baxter bar. Yeah. And man, she's from the hood. She traveled a bit. Came back, met at the bar. Did I get a rara? Yeah, get a rara. And I turned to her and Anna was standing next to her and I was like, sorry man, you're making me dizzy. Jy was net op die airplane 3 keer. Girl, come on. Remember where you come from. And if you change who you are, it talks to me about shame.
Yeah.
It talks to me about you're walking around with a little bit of embarrassment about the road in which you grew up. Yeah. That I've got
so the budget released one more question to Gabby. So Gabby has one more.
Apologize later and just squeeze in with her, but let's see.
Who's in charge of editing? You guys, I'm sorry. I'm going.
It's all good. If I can just stay in that, we touched on some heavy things, shame, staying grounded, and all of that. There was an interview you did in 2018, I think, with Gareth Cliff. Talking about sensitivity. So I'm going to lead with Gareth Cliff.
Sounds familiar.
Do we know him? I don't know. So you said, I have a problem that I'm going to live with for the rest of my life, and that's sensitivity. I'm very, very, very sensitive, and I try to rise above it, but I've resigned myself to the fact that I will never rise above that. That's my thing. That's my problem. I'm very sensitive. So if I may, how do you think that's helped you, if at all? And what part does that play in?
The good thing about that, when that was discovered, was I was doing a show called From the Cape Flats with Love. And then suddenly the whole country started talking about the show. But with that came reviews.
Oh.
And then I was sitting with the director, David Kramer actually directed that one. And I was sitting with him and he saw my whole body. So I read like a few lines of some review and he took the paper from my hand and he said, you must make a decision now if this is going to be your thing. Either you're going to be the kind of actor who can read that, because he says, because I work with them all the time, there are people who will consume that the whole day. And now it would be the kind of people who can sit on social media the whole day and read what comments what people have to say with them. Or he says you're not. And what are you? You know, is that your thing, or how do you feel when you, and I said, I absolutely think I should just be writing and working and being my best self. And so I rely on Anwar for feedback. That's why he's directed and produced most of the shows. And so the result is that in about 17 years now, I've not read a single word that anyone has had to say about me. Yeah. And it's counted in my favor, I think. Because I walked around and somebody had a viewpoint on something that I said about people were writing about me on social media. It's because they came and watched the show and they felt that I had expressed a view in my show with Rizaan in relation to Israel and Palestine. And then it went viral. Ik slaap lekker. Off to German. La 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 la. Alice in Wonderland is having a brilliant day. Yeah. And this woman comes up to me. So this obviously was just a year ago now. Comes up to me and does this to my shoulder. Yep. While I'm having my coffee in a coffee shop, she just does that squeeze and she says, don't worry what they say. Don't worry what they say. I will still come to your shows.
Yo.
You know when a croissant sits when your hand is shaking before you open Facebook, what? And then I couldn't resist. Because this woman's rubbing my shoulder and I just saw the first 4 comments and a few things popped in, because Instagram, when I get an inbox on Instagram, it's always to tell me how amazing I am. The people who make the effort. I just want to say, I don't want to go public, but you changed my life. I can read that the whole day. So and they come in direct messages, come to me about what is going to be done to me and how it's going to be done to me and my family and all that. And I won't lie, I went very private school. I had 3 sessions of therapy and counseling because the therapist told me, put your phone off. And as the therapist is talking to me, I'm realizing, but I got this lesson 17 years ago. It's just now that it's a phone. You know, so either you read or you don't read. And I've got friends I see, they respond to stuff, they get heated. But you've got to realize that, you know, people are going to get, as much as people are going to be nice on this thing, they're going to be poisonous and they are going to be as ugly as what you can't possibly imagine. So I had to learn that afresh now. So I think mostly it's counted in my favor. It really has. And I almost want to give that advice. It's difficult because you sit with your phone the whole time. And especially when there are hearts, you're going to go like, they liked what I wore on Saturday. But it's difficult. But amongst that, it's going to come up, the negative stuff. Do you know that you're only going to remember the negative one? You are not going to remember that emoji of the applause that you got going on. the 3 people that said the meanest stuff, it's going to bother you. Now you're going to self-analyze. Were they right? First, you must obviously want to, yo, master. Now you go on. You're going to their profile, Suma. I'm talking about personal experience. Screenshot their telephone. Look at you, look. but you want to become, 11 years old again. Down. So I think mostly that's worked in my favor. I will look for the comments on this podcast, though.
No, that's sage advice. Okay, I'm going to pivot hard to something more positive.
Way out of your budget.
That's the last one from me. So you're wearing a Braai Master t-shirt. You discussed Braaiing quite a lot and in your blog post as well. And so I'm very grateful that you've detailed the etiquette and do's and don'ts of a bring-in braai. But I want to know, what are you bringing to the party? What makes your braai so quiet?
My little braai.
What is Marc or what are you and Anwar bringing to the braai that makes it so lit?
Well, I'm going to have to say ourselves. No, I don't know. I mean, it was a bring-in braai. I still think, I've changed since that blog. I think I might have been on the blog. I might have been saying, because the problem is, and this is a Cape Town problem, that some people stop at a cheaper shop on the corner to buy like bad meat that was in the sun. Yeah. And then other people stop at a shop where they've taken out their second bond to... Yes. Now, I think the onus is on you. If you stopped at the corner and your meat is lukewarm from being in the sun for 4 days, you have no business in allowing the devil to possess you, just to throw it there amongst other people's meat and to shout, ons gaat nou lekker eat. No. Arrive there, say, guys, we did, man.
That's been a month.
We forgot yesterday.
Bring a garlic in.
If there's a roll left with liquor boer or something, even not for us, just for the 2 lighties. But now you can't just throw your meat. If your meat is not the liquor meat, you must eat the not the liquor meat. We're not all going to go for Imodium and Basco Pen for the next week. Just because of you.
Basco Pen's a plan.
But now I've evolved. Whilst being on this podcast. That's one show.
And you get a chance to share this.
And I get a chance to share this in my new show. You're talking about the show in 2025 that'll be promoted. That people have called so personal, but yes, critically acclaimed. Are you referring to that show?
Sure.
So you will get complimentary to us. Who are you bringing? When I give you comps, who are you bringing?
I'll bring.
Because you'll get 1 extra ticket. Maybe your colleague did not cross your mind.
No. It's the one audio listener. That's going to come with.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, then you'll also get comps. So the way I've evolved on the podcast now, I think.
Did I give you the look?
Not the look, the vibe. The way I've evolved on this podcast, I think, go to the braai thinking that you more than likely want to eat what other people are going to bring. So you take stuff that you think you're going to be fine if other people have your stuff because you know your stuff's also liquor.
Yeah. Nice.
But then also have the space sometimes to say, kyk hier hoor, hier wie die gebruik. So people must feel it was a bring-in braai, take liquor stuff, man. That you you've got no shame. Other people can enjoy that as well.
Nice. Can I just say a lot of the things? Oh, this is your phone.
A lot of
no, because I'm like I was gonna. Sorry.
I wonder why Ma locked those 3 doors because you never know.
A lot of the things that you say is very like we all know someone who would say that, but I think it's different because you are Marc Lottering. Yeah. I think it is like maybe you're not allowed to say that. Not like to bring attention to like because we all have an uncle like that. But we want to sort of transition to a game in the bowl.
Okay.
This is our iconic game, a series of hypothetical questions. And the game is called Say
Manau. Say, Manau, your dog could talk and you could choose what they would sound like. Which famous person would you like your dog to sound like?
Yo, that needs to be sorry. In the comments, please. Send us the answer for that question. Yo.
Okay, but famous person, dead or alive?
Dead or alive.
Dead or alive,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dead or alive.
Mainly because of my dog's attitude, but not gender, because my dog's male. But the famous person in attitude that I would like my dog, because this is how my dog acts when we go out and rolls his eyes every time somebody in Sea Point gives him a doggy biscuit, because he doesn't eat doggy biscuits. Give you chicken treats. But people feel they're doing me a favor, so I always end up hiding the biscuits. I don't want people to feel bad, and then they come back and go, "Oh, such a fast eater." So I would want my dog to say "Ek eet die Danny," but he would have to say it like my late friend Charlene Suti Richards, because she had attitude. We're out with people. You know, someone would say, "Waarom fout jy?" And she said, "Kan jy sien ek praat?"
Yeah.
Kan jy sien? Ja, kan jy sien ek praat? Ek praat, dan doen ons so voort. Just like bring a biscuit. Like it alsof ek biscuits eet. Ek eet hoender met my. So yeah, maybe the dog must attitude is showing attitude. Yeah.
Oh, you
guys have pets.
So my dog's very hyper. So it needs to be someone like with like pace, like what's that? The guy that sings George Michael. No, you gotta have faith.
Yes.
So because he's on a
very few people in the world say George Michael and go like that. But I feel that you can.
So yes, because Bowie's for context, Bowie's a Labrador that has energy from now until 2025, where you'll find Marc Eugene.
Yeah, everyone assumes my dog is on weed. My dog is so chill. So yeah.
So by Rizaan, you don't want to participate in this one? Should I just?
So I've actually never had a pet, man.
So your dog must sound like George Michael.
Yes.
Because
he's too energetic.
He's just
Yeah. And he just enjoys.
Yeah.
So you have Paul.
Paul has a dog.
Yeah, okay.
But he's not.
How would you like that dog to sound?
Nah, that's gonna be too rude.
Say that answer. That one, the rude answer that came. Say that one.
Nah. Paul's dog is dumb, man. So it's like, I'm trying to think like who's someone that's like dirty, man. Because if Paul's dog had to speak, it would be like just think of the dirtiest brother. It's gonna be like one of those, man.
Yeah. Double D.
This dog, he's got the husky, and this dog is just dirty. He's lomperig and he's just dirty.
Ariana Grande in that one show, Cat. She's she's so Delhi there. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
cool.
These dogs
We also have one for you, Marc.
Okay. So I read this out.
Yes, sir.
The assumption that your guests can
read. No, just read. I'm just stopping and read.
Okay.
Please.
Seminar. Very delicious. Seminar. My feet's on his dashboard now. Okay. Seminar. No, that's from an actual script. Guys, you have to see the whole show.
Yeah.
It wasn't real. Okay. A weird plant disease strikes the earth. ! It only affects tea leaves, coffee beans, tobacco, poppy plants, and cocoa beans. So it means we lose tea, coffee, and chocolate, but also cigarettes and cocaine. Will the world be a better place or worse? Tell me, Are we not allowed to ask who?
The producers.
Okay.
Just Pluto.
Okay.
Pluto. You don't have to answer first if you don't want to.
Without coffee and you.
Well,
So
we
we lose tea and coffee and
drugs.
chocolate, but like we also lose drugs. Like
The world is going to be a terrible place.
The world's gonna burn.
It's a terrible place.
Yeah.
All of these things help certain people, and all of these things make certain people a lot more interesting. And
Is alcohol still there?
yeah.
Because
Okay.
you can just make that of anything.
Yeah.
They'll find the means.
They'll find a
Just
way,
wait for
man.
lockdown
yeah, but
to
there are
happen.
people who don't consume alcohol,
Yeah.
but they coffee beans, tobacco, poppy plants,
Yes.
cocoa beans,
Sure.
chocolate,
Yeah.
cocaine, cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yo,
3
my bro,
cocaine
ek sê
subscribers.
maar kappelijn.
So are we
I'm not
agreeing
kidding.
that it's going to be a worse place?
It's getting, no, for me.
I
That's
also
my
think so.
answer.
No,
also
I
think
think
so.
because that's many people's release or relief.
Yeah.
And so that's their way of
Yeah.
coping at times.
Yeah, I think I have too much coffee,
Yeah.
but then I also say I have too much coffee because I hear people say that. It's like, oh my God, I have so much coffee. But I don't feel
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
No, I don't feel it's done anything bad to me, but I
yeah.
think I've just picked up the phrase because you say it while you're walking Greenpoint. Oh, I've just had so much coffee. Okay, one more.
Okay, but now there has to be a number.
I feel fine.
Okay.
Oh,
So you
yeah,
said
it's
I
not
have 5. I was like,
Yeah.
No.
okay.
So what we do like to do on the show is also give a not the traditional question. Actually, I want to switch it up for you this time, Marc. So your first play, From the Cape Flats with Love, to us feels like a love letter to the community that we like you showing pieces or elements of our
Gosh, then
community
you haven't seen the new one.
On-
Mark Lottering.
on stage.
I love a love letter.
So I would actually like to know, what would you like to be remembered as?
I would like to be remembered as the human who made people feel so good. And I'm only getting these messages now on social media, more so than before. I don't know, but it's also because I've started engaging with people because my friend Candace said, engage. Otherwise it just looks bad. Yo.
You're speaking to the people that also...
So now people are starting to see it really,
same.
because people get very disappointed when they hear that some people have people who manage accounts for them and they go, but
Yeah.
I'm talking to you. And someone said, not you. So it is me. And now I started engaging with people more. So now people, especially on Instagram, I'm getting these messages, like private messages, but they're saying, and this happened a lot after the Anti-Mill musicals, where people went home to talk about stuff, but we have received messages where people said, my dad had a few months left. So the family was quite, and then they say, but he had a list and you were on his list.
Sure.
So our memory is seeing him cry with laughter while watching you.
That's beautiful.
Then we've had people who are ill, who've spoken about coming to watch stand-up comedy or coming to watch the musicals and how important it was for them. Then it was about the issues that we cover in the shows, different issues. And, because I'm so for sin, my world is normally mad. I just think it's the most normal stuff. But some scripts, I will tell you guys that I've taken to the rehearsal rooms where directors even gone, whoa! She does what? And I go, don't we all know, Mark? That does not happen for us every weekend. I'm like, don't you know? So then I would have to explain stuff, and then I always get greenlit.
Okay.
Because then it always becomes, okay, wow. Like you and your friends are weird, but wow. So that's what you talk about, and that's happening out there. And obviously, I don't like to say palatable because that just will make a show droog. But we go, everyone's watching the show. So it's not just your circle of friends, Marc. So how we address the show. Okay. And then people have gone home to talk about stuff, to cry about stuff, to laugh about stuff. And then I get the messages afterwards, how it was so good for them to come. Not how your show is so good. It was so good for us to be there, and we feel so good. And that's how I would like to be remembered. I also would like to be remembered as a person who really should have charged a lot more. Because even hearing now the impact that I'm having, I've got no business being under
more in the new show.
Business. You see, you encourage it.
So I was gonna say Nalika.
My goodness.
Full circle.
They dwell amongst us.
But yeah, just like an official opportunity to just share any pages where people can follow you. If you're not already following you, what are you doing?
Yeah, like,
any shows that you're promoting, where can people find you? Where can people follow you? Where can people purchase tickets? In the camera, please.
In the camera. Okay. Everything you will find on marclottering.com. It's Marc with a C. And that will redirect you to whatever tickles your fancy. But I'm very active on Instagram. I love Instagram. And that's Marc Lottering, Marc with a C. And Facebook, there's a fan page, but there's an old page as well. But I can't run the fan page. I have to keep the old page alive. So I feel so sorry for people because some people send me like a hug to the old page and they go, "You've been so quiet since 2016. Are you okay?" No, go. There are people out there who don't know about the fan page. So
now they know.
So there's Marc Lottering. There's a fan page on Facebook as well. But all the links to everywhere. And I'm on X, that I still call Twitter.
Yeah, we all do.
All of us.
Honestly. We call Robert Sabuke Modedam. We call it Jake's Skarrels.
Yeah. The lady who brought me here on my phone was flown with Robert Sabuke. Left on Robert Sabuke. William Goosey. Robert got a white so good. So that's where I am.
No, but I thought like from my side, thank you so much for being here. This was amazing. I swear, I promise everyone here got a great opportunity to sort of like chat to you. JP, take us home, man. Like, I want to hear.
So I think just from my side again, also thank you very much. And if you like this content, please do like, share, subscribe, comment on the audio platforms. And we on to the next one. We out. Peace.
There's music playing in the background.